Welcome, brokers. It's time to start thinking what you're going to do with all those mech parts from quests or you've purchased. This is the Mechs 101 class. First, we're going to review all the TPL mech parts that exist and came from Season 1 of Quests. Then, we're going to describe how the reveal process works for those parts, and then how you can assemble those parts into a full mech. And then finally, we're going to take a little deeper look at what assembled mechs are. So let's start with a review of what TPL mech parts exist. There are 6 different mech parts: arms, bodies, engines, heads, legs, and afterglow. 5 of those parts come in different models or classes. Afterglow is the exception. It does not have any model or class associated with it, just a single color. So let's dive a little deeper. Each TPL mech part has 2 different traits. The first is model or class. It should be noted that the word model and class are interchangeable and mean the same thing. Our 5 models are Enforcer, Ravager, Behemoth, Lupus, and Nexus. And those are in order from number 1 through number 5 of class. The second trait is part type. These are the arms, bodies, heads, engines, legs, and afterglow. Again, the one exception to this is afterglow, which does not have a model trait. It's just a single color that represents a specific talent or set of talents. And then there's one specific afterglow color called Shadow Black that was rewarded for participation. There's a couple of subtleties in these parts that you should fully understand. The first is that a TPL mech part arm is a single arm. You will need 2 of these to create your mech. From this point forward, there is no difference between an arm and pirated arm firmware. Both are the same. The leg part kind of works the opposite way. There's a single part called leg, and that actually gets you a pair of legs in a single part. So you only need 1 of those. For everything else, a part is a part and it equals 1 part. Let's take a little closer look at the arm mech parts. The Lupus arm was received in the first quest if you participated. That particular part had special meaning in all quests thereafter. If you held a Lupus arm, you would get additional parts each and every quest, in addition to any brokers you own. Quest 1 only released 2 models of arms, Enforcer and Lupus. In a later quest, additional arms to fill out inventory so everyone could have 2 arms were released in the form of pirated firmware. I'm providing this information for historical purposes because moving forward, all of that doesn't matter anymore. For the reveal and assembly process, all arms are now equal. You need to pick from any arm type. So let's get into the process of how this is all going to work. At the end of each quest, you got dropped or could claim TPL mech parts. These are ERC 1155 NFTs, and these are the current items you have. As a reminder, all TPL mech parts must be claimed by December 31st, 2022, midnight Central Standard Time. The next step in the process will be the reveal. This is how you will turn your TPL mech parts from ERC 1155s into 3D mech parts that are ERC 721s. Note, there is no time requirement in which to do this. Let's take a look at how reveal is going to work. Let's take a look at how the reveal process is going to work in more detail. For an example, we're going to use a single TPL mech part. That mech part has a specific model and a specific part type that's associated with it. On the CyberBrokers website, you're going to reveal it. What you get in return is a 3D mech part of the same model, of the same part type. It's also going to have something new, a style, and something else we're not going to talk about yet. You could think of this as putting your hand into a grab bag where there's a set of pre-existing objects and you're going to pick one out. The result is luck of the draw. It's important to note that during the reveal process, your original TPL mech part is burned. As a side note, the reveal process is not required for Afterglow parts. They are what they are already and do not need to be revealed. This can be done in batches, which will save you a lot in gas. And the key part here is that each model has multiple unique styles in the bag to pull from. Here's an example of the same model arm with two different styles. Okay, so you've revealed all your parts. It's time for the next step in the process to assemble your mech. These will be ERC 721s as well, and there is no time requirement to do this either. Let's look in a little more detail about how the assemble process works. Again, let's use a single example. To assemble a mech, I need the following 3D revealed mech parts: 2 arms, 1 body, 1 engine, 1 head, and 1 leg. I also need 1 TPL mech part and afterglow. The assemble process will take all those parts in and give you an assembled mech that's fully rigged with a specific model and class. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Some more surprises, and as we said earlier, it'll be an ERC 721. We've said previously that you can mix and match parts. At the same time, a fully assembled mech needs to be associated with one of the pre-existing models, Enforcer through Nexus. This is how that's going to work. The model of the engine part defines the model of the fully assembled mech. You'll also need 2 other parts of the same model type as the engine. Any part works, besides afterglow. An example here will be greatly useful. So I have a Ravager arm that got revealed and it's style A. I have a second Ravager arm that was revealed and it's style B that's different than style A. I revealed one of my Ravager engines and that's style C, which is completely different from style A and B. The key is not the style, the key is the model. Because all of 3 of these have the same model, I can use them to create a mech of the model type Ravager. I then add the following parts: a leg, body, and head of any model type and style, and 1 afterglow. The result is a Ravager model mech. It may not have all Ravager model parts, and it may not have all styles that are the same. It's still a Ravager model mech. So as you see, this is going to give you some options when you're assembling your mechs. To create a mech with all the same model parts, or do you mix and match those model parts? Do you create a mech with all the same style parts, or do you mix and match different style parts, or even go crazier, mix and match models and style parts? Those decisions are totally up to you. It's very important to understand that the assembly process is one way. During the assembly of your mech, all 3D mech parts and TPL mech parts used will be burned, and you cannot change parts afterwards. So please make sure of your choices before assembling. The end result is going to be your personal mech. It's going to be custom based upon the choices you made. It's going to be fully rigged and ready for action. It's going to have 3D files based upon your choices, and it's going to have a model and class associated with it, along with a few other things. An example on the right is a fully assembled Ravager model using all the same model and style parts. Disclaimer: no gas chromatograph required for assembly. So let's summarize. Another reminder that all TPL mech parts from Quest must be claimed before December 31st, 2022, midnight Central Standard Time. More information about mechs will become available on the new website, in Discord, and Alpha Command Spaces. Strap in and get ready, brokers. It's mech time.